Wait. Hold on, bro. Before you get a dating app and become depressed, let me spit some facts at you and enlighten you and give you some wisdom before you make this choice. And after I'll give you some solutions for this. So there's four things I want to talk about. There's the gender disparity, aka the sausage fest on dating apps. There's the paradox of choice, which is the decision paralysis. And there's the addictiveness and gamification. And lastly, there's the business model paradox, which is basically a conflict of interest to sum it up. So going into the first one, gender disparity. So men competing, uh, they're competing in an artificially brutal market. Okay, what do I mean by this? So they're vastly outnumbered, uh, destroying their statistical odds when you immediately download the app. So data by Swipe Stats in their study found that dating apps are generally 67% men and 33% women. So this is a problem because it creates scarcity. So the swipe behavior between the genders creates a statistical nightmare, so to say, and women's match rates are 44%, while men's match rates are 5%. And this creates sort of a shotgun and sniper effect because the odds are stacked against men. And, men try to adapt by liking literally everybody to try and get maximum amount of matches, and women are just absolutely overflowed, and so they kind of try to snipe and filter out the noise, which creates a cycle of men constantly swiping and women getting overwhelmed. And of course, they like attention from this. I mean, some of them to get all these matches. And then, men's match rates even drop further. So now going to the second point of the paradox of choice, which causes decision paralysis. So dating apps give the illusion of infinite options, which is scientifically proven to prevent people from actually choosing or committing to anybody. Now let's look into a study called the JAM experiment. Now I love JAM, but so there's a famous study called the JAM experiment. It's a psychological study by a horizontal comparison. And when consumers were shown 24 varieties of jam, they were attracted to the display but rarely bought anything. Now, I don't know about you, when I go look for toothpaste and there's 30 different types of toothpaste, I have a brain aneurysm and I cannot pick one. Okay, I need like three options to choose from. But they did the same study, and when people were only shown six pieces of jam of different brands, the buying behavior skyrocketed. So now, how does this apply to dating? So a study published in Computers in Human Behavior experimentally assigned users to view either 11, 31, 91 dating profiles. Okay, so the result was high partner availability directly caused partner choice to overload, decreasing self-esteem, and actually increase the fear of being single. So here's the trap that they play into. The apps turn users into maximizers, so people who endlessly look for optimal choice. Because you can always swipe one more time, users consistently worry that a better partner or a better option might be one step away, and that could sabotage them from a date they just went on yesterday that was great. But in the back of your mind, you're thinking, oh, maybe if I stay on here and keep messaging people, maybe there's somebody better out there. Like they could just be the next one. So that's an issue as well, and that's the paradox of choice. And so the third point here is addictiveness. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a monkey brain. I cannot use these apps. Like I literally, it's too much dopamine. I can't handle it. But there's basically a slot machine mechanic. So the core thing is you aren't using a matchmaking tool. You are playing a mobile game designed by engagement engineers to hijack your dopamine. So, variable reward schedule. This is the exact psychological mechanism used in slot machines. If you won every time you pulled the lever, it would get boring and you would never pull the lever. So, but if you never won, you would quit because you never win, right? So, by giving you a match unpredictably, the variable reward, your brain releases a massive spike of dopamine every time you see a match animation. And the app as an end itself. So research highlighted by Theria shows that gamification of swiping makes the app a source of entertainment rather than a tool to meet people. So this generally causes users to end up playing the matching game just for validation and a quick dopamine hit, with really no real intention of ever actually going on a date. Now you can see this more so with the types of app like Tinder and Bumble, I believe, and I think Hinge is generally geared towards like people actually go on dates. I've read online that people have a better experience this one with this app. But then there's the thing of screen time overload. And according to data compiled by the Business of Apps, active users spend an average of 80 minutes per day on dating apps, which is generally just swiping, and it becomes another form of quick form like entertainment like TikTok or Instagram. And so the last one I want to talk about here is the business model paradox, which is a conflict of interest. So dating apps' ultimate financial enemy is a successful relationship. So what do I mean by that? They do not want you to find somebody. They want you to stay on the app as long as possible, especially men, because they're the ones who pay for the subscriptions because of the scarcity complex. So the apps that claim to be designed to be deleted is just an inherent lie. If an app is successful in pairing you with another person in real life and having a relationship, it loses exactly two paying customers that they could possibly have. So, from a strictly corporate standpoint in business, matchmaking is a bad business model for them, even though they are a matchmaking app. So, the free subscription tier trap, tech platforms rely on converting about 10 to 15% of their user base into paying subscribers. So, subscriptions and premium tiers like Tinder or Gundle, cannot speak, Bumble Premium, drive 60 to 80% of all the dating apps revenue. So the thing is it's mostly men. They are monetizing men desperation from males because men face a severe mathematical disadvantage in matches. The apps deliberately gatekeep basic visibility behind paywalls, and they sell, profile boosts, super likes, and red receipts. Essentially, the app creates like a frustrating, stupid environment for men and tries to sell you a solution of a subscription tier from the problem that they created themselves. Because again, this is a business and they want to get money from this. So thinking in all those four things, it makes sense why when most people download a dating app, I'd say like 90%, they just get frustrated, upset. You can even get depressed if you're not getting any matches. And people like I've never talked to anybody who has genuinely liked being on dating app, and everybody feels like they need to use it. Well, I don't think you need to. And I would say the biggest thing, especially for men, is that you just need to go out there and socialize. Like if you live near a city, you need to go to run clubs, social events, start doing a sport, start going to the gym, do any sort of hobby that can get you out and even make you become more an interesting person. And you'll realize too that a lot of the things conveyed by dating apps are very looks based, and there is a group of people like that. Um, who use them and who are very looks based in society, and everything is about how you look. But if you actually approach women in person, you might think, oh, this girl is like out of my league. I haven't looks maxed enough and hit my jaw with a hammer enough. And I don't have this line that she would ever talk to me or go out. But you'll realize if you like go out and talk to women and socialize that it's really easy to start a conversation. And, for the most part, they're pretty nice. Like I've met girls at run clubs all the time, and you just say, "Oh, hey, I don't think I've seen you here before. My name's Joe. What's your name?" And then you can start a conversation off of this from so many things. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And it becomes very easy to just after the conversations, like, "Hey, would you want to go bouldering sometime?" I like bouldering, so I invite him bouldering, and then do you get their number? And it makes the most sense to just meet people in person. And there's also a ton of studies that have specifically shown that, you have better satisfaction in a relationship when you met in person than as compared to online. And I think the data will continue to show that. And previously, everybody met in person. Then there's this massive hit of meeting people online. And now it's shifting back towards the people don't want to meet online, which is a good thing. And they want to meet through friends. So if I could give like a couple points here, I would say do not use apps, go out and be more social. And one thing that really helps is if you see like just socialize and talk to people. You realize it's not that scary. It's not that hard. You'll get better at it. And these are things that you should definitely do instead of just downloading an app and doing nothing.